Are they criminal or not? It's not clear. Because of that, really, no one wants to expose a trafficker in a public. They don't want to expose. They don't want to give their testimonies, or they don't want to testify before court. So even the serious problem is no one see it, human trafficking as a crime. That's the problem. Because human trafficking is highly socially embedded issue. So because of that,
sorry, excuse me. May I ask you to end your discussion, because I would like to go to the next opponent.
Thanks.
So if you okay. If not, then the examination shall be continued by your promoter, Professor Hostel.
Mr. candidate, your research focuses on a tremendously important topic, and it affects many, many lives. I would like to ask you two questions predominantly. One is, if your research would not have focused on those that have returned, that are kind of free of reprisal, do you think there would have been ways to also get information in another context from those that are still affected and are in the middle of that situation? So in other words, those that have not returned yet, but those that are still in these very vulnerable positions. Is there a way? Could you think about ways that that information could actually be collected? And the second follow-up is, how about collaboration with United Nations offices and agencies, like the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, that is tremendously active, also in the Ethiopian context? Can you tell us something about the alignment of, let's say, the local legal activities with the activities and aims and goals of such an agency?
May I ask you for a brief answer, please?
Thank you. Highly learned member of committees. I think if I got your question, the first question is about how I have collected the information, the data.
It is actually, can you think about collecting the data also for those that have not returned yet? Could you see a way that that could be done?
Well, I have collected data in a different research procedures. I have used the qualitative and the quantitative approach. The methods I have used is interview and focus group discussion, and then the questionnaire also for about 273 sample size, and also field observation summary notes, and examining the existing legal framework is also another source. So, well, using the questionnaire, I have tried to reach 273 informants, and by using that is very important because it helps me to gather informations, evidences from a large number of sampling size. In this case, of course, questionnaire is very important for the issues of privacy and also the issues of confidentiality, and it helps me to understand about the issues, fully understand about the women trafficking. And also I have used focus group discussion and also interview. So by diversifying this source of information, I have tried to collect the informations and try to analyze based on these sources, especially particularly for question. I've tried based on data analysis, I have used IPSS software, and for the remaining focus group discussion and interview, I have used content analysis. Based on this, I have tried to collect the data and tried to analyze my thesis. As far as the issues of the alignments of the United Nations, in collaboration with specific to my study area, well, Ethiopia is one of the signatories. Ethiopia is the one who ratified, this convention and obliged to implement these legal frameworks. So, well, as I have said earlier, the commitment at federal level is so good. I couldn't see as such serious problem, despite all these minor problems. But the problem is not only Ethiopia, even the remaining countries, at international level, they sign any treaties, agreements, but the implementation is totally different. That is a problem. And this is what I could have seen here in Ethiopia, especially at a local level, specific to my study area, RC. Well, the collaboration and the alignment is not as such a serious problem. Ethiopia is working with the United Nations, but the implementation is still very serious at local level. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Then the examination shall be continued by Professor Dietz.
Mr. Candidate, in your study, you also interviewed and studied the traffickers themselves. That must have been extremely difficult as a methodology and also as a personal experience. Can you tell us how these traffickers saw themselves, what their economic and social careers have been so far? Do they see themselves as businessmen and businesswomen? Do they regard their income from trafficking as a starting capital for other business ventures? How do they themselves defend their actions in light of their religious backgrounds and beliefs? And does it give them status